problem with the mic last time. We're good? Spring is almost here. It's a little cold out, but in most parts of the country, it's kind of here. So I thought we could do something nice for each other since spring is coming. And what I want to do is I want to have each of you turn to your neighbor in a second and tell them that they have a beautiful smile. But in the spirit of internationalism, I want you to say it in Russian. Can we do that? I'll teach you. У тебя красивая жопа. Okay. У тебя красивая жопа. У тебя красивая жопа. У тебя красивая жопа. Now turn to your neighbor and tell them that they have a beautiful smile. Brilliant. Wonderful, wonderful. Now let me begin my story. When he was getting prepared to abdicate the throne, King Lear needed a way to divide up his empire. So he brought his 3 daughters together, and he had one simple question for them. How much do you love me? And the first 2 protested that they loved him more than the sun and the moon and the stars, and they would forsake all others for him. And the third one, Cordelia, simply said, I can only say that I love you. And in that, she said everything. Now, there comes a time in everybody's life, hopefully sooner rather than later, when you realize that there's no time to be anything but direct, simple, and honest. There's no beating around the bush. I learned this when I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Latvia, about 15 years ago now. I taught English to high school students. And I learned this in a number of ways. Now, I was studying Latvian, and I was studying a little Russian, and I did not have the language ability to be dishonest. I could only be honest because those were the only words I had. So when my Christian friends said, well, what do you think about the Bible? I said, I think it's wonderful art. And when the Latvian lady on the bus into the capital accosted me and looked over at her Russian neighbor and looked back at me and said very loudly, I think it's wonderful that non-Latvians who live in this country, really try to learn our language, not like some other people. All I could say was, oh, I don't like racism. That's all I could say. I learned this one summer when I was walking around town with one of my Russian students, and he was trying to teach me Russian. And we're walking around town, he's teaching me phrases, and he points out this girl about his age, and he says, Steve, go up to that girl and tell her you have a beautiful smile. Well, not one to pass up the opportunity to give a good, truthful compliment. I said, Roman, I would love to. I don't know how to say it. So Roman told me. And what did he tell me? У тебя красивая жопа. I said, okay. У тебя красивая жопа. У тебя красивая жопа. Roman's like, you've got it. Go. So I walk up to this girl and I say, У тебя красивая жопа. Her jaw drops. Another friend of mine standing next to us burst out laughing. Well, as it turns out, I did tell the truth. It just wasn't exactly the truth that I thought I was telling, because you see, У тебя красивая жопа really means "You have a beautiful ass." So I told the truth. I learned the importance of being simple and direct when I was giving a lesson to my high school English class there, and the lesson was on adjectives. And the question was, what should a good teacher be? Smart, strict, funny? A couple girls in the back row, they didn't really work that hard. I'm not sure how smart they were, but they always had a good time in the back row just giggling. They raised their hand and they said, "Teacher, how do you say it in English, dabujams?" Well, the verb dabu means to get, so the adjective, of course, is obtainable. And I went to another Latvian friend of mine and said, "Is there any other meaning than the meaning I think they meant?" He's like, no. That's what they meant. So luckily I passed over their question pretty quickly. Now, much to my chagrin, about 2 months after I told this nice, pretty girl with the nice smile, she showed up in my class. She was a student of mine. And much to my further chagrin, her boyfriend Sergey was also a student of mine. And on the first day of class, he said, "Steve, after school, I will kill you." Now, he was joking, but in his simple English, he was telling a profound truth. Similar to that, Sergey liked to show up late to class. And I said, "Sergey, you're tardy all the time. You need to show up to class." He said, "But Steve, I have business." I don't know what the business was. I don't need to know, but I'm certain he was telling the truth. I also hope he was telling the truth when, on the very last day of class, he raises his hand. He said, "Steve, u tebya krasivaya zhopa."